Hi, everyone. Last week, we talked about the importance of networking, but we reframed networking. We actually renamed it. Remember, we called it building relationships. So let's take the scary sound and name out of it, and let's talk about what it really is building common relationships and building connections with people. When you put it that way, it doesn't sound quite so scary. We acknowledge too that it's important for our careers, for the future of our growth. Yet, so many of us still are hesitant to take that first step and move forward. So, today we're going to tackle three common fears that come with building relationships. So, let's dig in. Fear number one, I am afraid that I'm going to sound too salesy, like I want something from the relationship. That's one that I hear often, especially from a lot of introverts. They feel like, I want something from this relationship, but yet I feel really uncomfortable in approaching this person because it just sounds like I want to get something from them. And that's just yucky feeling to me. So, a couple of things to keep in mind when you're reaching out to someone, what is your intention? What is it that you are truly wanting to get from this relationship? And remember, building relationships is a two-way street. It's not all about what I can get from the other person, but it's also what can I share with that other person. So there's a two-way give there. So really think about what's the intention. The next part is be genuine. Really be who you are. Was joking this morning with a choir director. We were talking about being flat, and no one wants to be flat. And I said, really, we just want to be natural. So for any of you who are music nerds, that's kind of a funny music terminology, play on words. But really, you do want to just be natural. You just want to be genuinely who you are. Don't try to be someone else. Don't try to put on a fake hat. That's not you. And the other part is be grateful. When they say yes, that they'll take time with you, thank them for that time. At the end of your time together, thank them for their time. Because really, we all are in a world where we feel like maybe somebody wants to get something out of this relationship. But just by saying a simple thank you, it makes the time feel so worthwhile. So, fear number one was the fear of kind of coming off too salesy. Fear number two, being too busy. So I hear this from a couple of different angles. I hear this from the angle of, I'm too busy. I don't know when I'm going to squeeze this in. I'm working full time. I'm caring for a family. I'm doing all these extracurricular activities. When am I going to have time to actually do this? The flip side of that is this fear of the other person is too busy. They're too busy. Look at what I have going on in my life. There's no way they're going to have time to take out a time to talk with me and build a relationship with me. So, on both sides of that coin, the answer is really fairly simple. Building connections and building relationships with people does not have to be a lengthy process. It really can be a 15-minute conversation that you have with someone on occasion. It might just be that you need one 15-minute conversation to realize, like, this isn't the fit that I thought it was going to be. Or it could be, I just need a 15-minute conversation, and periodically we'll follow up and have another 15-minute conversation. So those 15-minute conversations can happen over a cup of coffee. And sometimes people say, well, Leslie, I don't like coffee. And guess what? I don't like coffee either. And it's not about the coffee. It's really about the conversation. So go. Even if you don't like coffee, get a cup of water, get a hot chocolate, get a cup of tea, get nothing at all. Just say, no, I'm really not interested in anything right now. I just really wanted to spend some time with you. That's okay. Go for coffee. For introverts, sometimes this next one is a bit of a stretch, but it could be that you do it over your lunch break. I know lunch is a long time to commit to having a conversation and carrying on a conversation with someone. So maybe that's not your initial conversation. But maybe as your time changes and your relationship changes, maybe having lunch with someone is a great way to figure out, how am I going to fit this into my already busy day? I can tell you another way that I build relationships. I have someone that is a dear friend, but also a great coach for me. And we have a weekly phone call while I'm driving. So we talk for about 15, maybe 20 minutes once a week. And that's how we stay connected. So there are a lot of different ways that you can kind of skin that cat, to use a colloquialism. But really, it boils down to, you don't need a lot of time. It really is just reaching out and saying, do you have 15 minutes? Could we meet for coffee? Could we chat over the phone while maybe you're driving and commuting to work? So take a look and see where you can fit in that 15 minutes. So again, fear number one, the fear of being too salesy, coming across as kind of that yucky, disingenuine feeling. Fear number two, too busy. Either I'm too busy or I assume that the other person is too busy. Fear number three, I don't know what to say. Especially for many introverts, they're like, I don't know what to say to this person. Like, okay, if they say yes and we sit down, what am I going to say then? I really don't know what to say. I don't even know where to begin. Remember, we talked about your intention. What's your intention behind wanting to build this relationship with the person? There's probably something that they know that you want to learn more about. So it could be they have a skill set that you admire, or they demonstrate a behavior and model that behavior in a way that you'd love to learn from them. How did they grow in that area? What did they do? Were they always a natural at that, or was it something that they had to grow in over time? And simply by saying, I really admire X about you, I'd love to hear more about your journey and how you learned about X. That's going to open the doors, and that's going to open the conversation up. There's also some vulnerability that comes into play when you say, I want to learn from you. But let me tell you, on the other end of that conversation, the person feels really honored that you want to learn something from them, and they're really happy to share that knowledge with you. So those are three common fears when it comes to building relationships. One, when it come across as too salesy. The way you tackle that one is think about what your intention is, show genuineness, and be grateful. Fear number two, I'm too busy, they're too busy. Keep in mind, it can be a 15-minute conversation. So just ask if they have 15 minutes. Maybe you can do it over coffee, maybe it can be 15 minutes over a lunch break, or maybe it can be 15 minutes while someone's driving. Really, you just want to make that connection. And fear number three, I don't know what to say. Really go back to intention and say, I really admire this and I want to learn more from you. Would you be willing to share that with me? And I bet the answer is going to be yes. So those are our three common fears. I would love to hear in the notes below if one of those fears happens to be one of your key fears, how you've overcome it, if you've actually made it past and made it to the other side, or if it's one you're still tackling. The other thing is, I only tackled 3 fears today. There are other fears. What's your fear? What's holding you back from making connections with other people and moving your career forward and being able to help them in theirs as well? I look forward to hearing what your thoughts are, and I'm also looking forward to our next video coming up next week. So this is Leslie with Providence Pathway. Take care.